What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a front rotor and caliper inspection on this 2007 Yamaha FZ6. We're going to go over all the specs to do with the caliper and the rotor to make sure your front brakes are in tip-top shape before this riding season. Your front brakes are arguably the most important safety feature on this bike, so before we get into the summer and spring, let's make sure we can stop before we go. Let's get into it. The first wear item we're going to check is the brake pads, and they load in from the top of the caliper here. The best way to get them is to pull out these two little clips here and then pull out the retaining pin that locks them in place. One thing you want to take note of is there's an arrow here on this sheet metal spring clip that holds your pads down. It has an arrow here pointing up towards the fork in the direction of the wheel's rotation, as in going around this way. So when you reinstall it, make sure the arrow is pointing up towards the fork and in the direction of rotation with the front wheel. With the pads out, you want to check for thickness. At a maximum, they'll be 4.5 millimeters when they're brand new, and at a minimum, they'll be 0.5 millimeters. If they're at 0.5 millimeters or below, you must replace them. You're measuring from the surface right here, from the front of the backing plate to the top edge of the pad, and you can see mine measures, I'd say just under 4 millimeters. These are pretty new pads, so I'd say about 3.5 or 3.7 or something like that. I'm going to check all around the pad just to make sure it's not wearing unevenly. Check on the bottom, and check the other one as well. You want to make sure you check both pads, because who knows, maybe a rock got stuck in there and threw off one pad. Another thing to check for is to make sure the pad isn't coming off the backing plate. You might not ride the bike a lot and might not put a lot of wear on the pads, but corrosion can get in behind the pad and the backing plate here and cause the pad that you wear off to lift off the backing plate. So inspect for corrosion here, but where the pad meets the backing plate, and check for grooves. Basically, I know you can see lines coming through here, but you shouldn't have any deep grooves. When you look at a side profile like this, you shouldn't see big carved in grooves along the length of the pad. If you do, that's a sign of uneven wear. A rock probably got in there and ate away. You probably also want to inspect your rotor, which we're going to do next. Also, your rear plate on the back here must be here. Next up, we're going to measure brake rotor thickness. Now, the limit for this is 4.5 millimeters, and brand new, they're 5 millimeters, so you can have basically 0.5 millimeter of wear. I can tell you I've already measured mine, and they're not good. So I'm using a micrometer here to measure. This is a precision measurement tool that you'd have to learn how to use accurately, but this is really the tool for the job. A ruler won't cut it here. You could use a vernier caliper, but this is really the ideal tool for the job. I've got something that measures 0 to 25 millimeters, 0.01 millimeters precision. The manual recommends that you measure in the middle of the rotor, basically not on the edge out here, on the outer edge where the pad doesn't contact the rotor because it wouldn't wear away there. And with my measurement, I have basically 4.18 millimeters. Yikes. You have to measure in multiple places, so I'm going to go down here as well. Let me get my caliper out. Same deal, 4.18. Same, 4.18. Yikes. I will be changing my rotor soon, just not today, and when I do, these bolts are torqued to 13 foot-pounds, and the manual recommends you use Loctite to hold them in there. The other thing you can check for on the rotor is deflection. This would be the rotor moving in and out. In a car, this feels like a brake pedal that punches back at you, and I've not experienced this on a motorcycle, but I'd imagine when you grab a handful of brake, you'd feel the brake pulse. The lever would try and push away and push out from where your grip. So that basically is the rotor moving in and out, and to measure this, you need a dial indicator and a magnetic base, essentially something to magnetize to the bottom of the fork here and point a precision tip on the surface of the rotor while you spin the wheel. And you should see no more than 0.0039 inches of deflection in either way. Basically means no more than 4 thou of run out. This is more common in cars in my experience because these dissipate heat so well, it's very unlikely for them to deform. But if you've been on a track day with your FZ6 and then you notice whenever you go to grab brake after that, it feels kind of pulsy, that's probably a sign of rotor deflection. If you do have to take off your caliper for whatever reason, these bolts right here and right here that mount it to the lower fork are torqued to 29 foot-pounds. That's a wrap on the front brake inspection on this 2007 Yamaha FZ6. Another thing to look for on your rotors is little spider cracks between the holes that vent them. Basically any little crack starting to form between the hole or the edge of the rotor is a sign that your rotor's seen too much heat and it's on its way out. So time to change them up. Of course, I'm going to change my rotors, but they're just not cheap things. You're supposed to replace them in pairs. Of course, I have to because they're both worn. They're about 250 bucks US a piece, and the place I go for parts is called partsfish.com or megazip.net. Both those places will help you get parts at kind of wholesale prices, close to at least, and hopefully bring the cost down on maintaining a bike like this. So check it out if you're interested. Another good thing to do when you have your pads out is just clean the rotor. Dirt and debris gets in there. It's a good idea to grab a can of brake clean and just get in there and blow it out and squeeze it out, and be gentle. There's rubber seals in there that you do not want to puncture or expose to too much chemicals, but clean out any debris while you're in there. If you notice any moisture in your brakes, like oil related moisture, that's real bad. It's a sign that you've got a leak nearby, and commonly your fork seals will leak and get down into your brakes, and that's bad. So if you've got any oil in your brakes, clean it out, find the source of the oil, and then put it all back together once you fix the leak. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Please smash the like and subscribe button down below, and as always, have a good day.